Shut up and drive, 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 drive. Shut up and drive, 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 drive. Shut up and drive, 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 drive. Shit. Oh shit, what am I doing? What am I doing? Yes, discard. Oh shit. Oh no. Oh no. Oh dear me. Oh. Oh. Hurry up. This is painful. This is really quite painful. When your computer takes over a minute to load a browser up, that's when you know you're due a replacement. It really is. Unbelievable. Oh. And this is why I can't use streaming software anymore. Right, audio check 1 2 3. Checking the mic 1 2 1 2. Right, audio check 1 2 3. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Motive Racing YouTube channel tonight for round 7 of the Project Cars 2 Leagues. Here for the Clio Cup tonight on Tuesday nights, as always, here at Donington Park on the National Circuit. And obviously with tonight being the penultimate round, round 7 of 8, we're coming towards a business end in this championship. and currently in this season standings. I'm going to read them through them right now without the drop rounds taken into account. Obviously, every driver will drop their worst round score from this season, but before the drop rounds, I'm going to read out what we've got so far. So we've got Ollie Marr leading the championship currently coming into tonight. He is sat on 506 points. He is 86 points clear of Oni Mike, who does have a drop round in hand, so that gap will be a lot closer than what that says or what that suggests. But he's 86 behind on 420 points. You've got John Boy in third, also with a drop round in hand over Ollie, on 404 points, so he's 16 points behind Mike. You've got Cobb sat in fourth on 352 points, but Cobb not here tonight, so he'll not be scoring any points. I don't know if he's going to be joining us for the next couple of races after this first race, but he's already too late to get here for the first race, so he will not be here for at least one race here tonight, potentially more. You've got Smokey Devil in fifth in the standings on 318 points, well clear of Charlie Goff and Ozzy Albie, who are actually tied on points. Charlie Goff P6 on countback on 304 points ahead of Ozzy, who is in 7th. Then you've got Part Pooper in 8th place in the standings on 280 points ahead of Jay, who's pulled out of the championship for this season, in 9th on 268 points. Nick the Villa sits in 10th place on 258 points. He'll move ahead of Jay tonight unless he has an absolute nightmare. Diabetic Lamb is in 11th on 190 points, ahead of Doris Deer, who sits 12th on 162. Then you've got Big Blue, who is 13th in the standings on 158 points, well clear of Iceman, who hasn't been here the last few weeks. Iceman is sat in 14th on 106 points. The Mutts Nuts is in 15th on 66 points, ahead of Gary, who's 16th on 66 as well. Amos Kill 17th on 64 points, he's well clear of RJ Dale, who's raced a couple of rounds this season but hasn't been here every week. He's 18th on 52 points, and Toady Zero's in 19th on 36, with Revolt Diesel at 20th on 16 points. The practice session, the pre-first race practice session, is now over for tonight, so we've got Mike there putting it on the fastest time, with Ollie in second. 3/10 actually the gap between Mike and Ollie. That's quite a big gap in the Clios, so that's a really quite strong job there from Mike. But Mike, Ollie, Nick and John Boy, your fastest four, but obviously the practice session has no bearing on the grid order because it is only a practice, and the grid order will be a reverse grid based on the championship standings. So the standings that I just read out to you now, those will be reversed, they'll be tipped on their head, and that will essentially be the starting order for this first race of the night. So we're going to have one manual formation lap to get into that order. I've read it out to the guys, but I'll read it out to all of you here as well. So it's going to be RJ Dale who will make his way to the front, P1. Then it will be Big Blue in P2. Doris Steele will be P3, with Nick the Villa P4, ahead of Part Pooper in P5. Ozzy will be P6, ahead of Charlie in P7, with Smokey P8, John Boy P9, Mike P10, and Ollie, the championship leader, will be at the back in P11. Obviously the championship standings slightly different to what I just read out. I'm going to read you out the order in terms of the drop rounds being taken into account. So every driver loses their worst result of the season. So say for example you score 40 points at Donington National tonight, and it's your worst round of the season. Essentially your worst round tonight, or wherever it might be, will be excluded from your points tally, and it's the same for everybody. So if somebody misses a round, they drop 0 points because their worst round of the season would be a score of 0. So essentially it helps the guys who have to miss a round for whatever reason, you know, whether they've got a meeting or whether they're on holiday, or if they just got an unexpected occurrence that rules them out of racing. It means that they're not going to lose out or not lose their chance to battle for the championship. Because there's been a few situations where drivers have had to miss a round or two in a season, and it's completely screwed over their chances in the championship. So what we're trying to do with the drop rounds is maybe negate that a little bit, and that's what we've done here. So it's anyway, enough of that. It's Ollie who leads the championship coming into tonight with the drop rounds taken into account. He's on 430 points, but his gap to Mike with the drop rounds only 10 points. So Mike sits in second on 420. Then we've got John Boy in third on 404 points. Cobb sits fourth on 352. With Smokey in fifth on 290 points, followed by Charlie Goff, who is in sixth on 260 points. Oh no, actually no, sorry, Ozzy's sixth on 266 points, ahead of Charlie, who is seventh on 260. Actually, Park Weaver gains 8 points. You know what? It's getting confusing now. I'm not going to read this. Essentially, the championship battle a lot closer than what you'd think it is with the drop rounds taken into account. The three you want to sort of focus on tonight with the drop rounds are Ollie on 430, Mike on 420, and John Boy on 404. Those three are the championship contenders. Cobb realistically out of it tonight, obviously not being here, but was already really out of it anyway, if I'm perfectly honest with you. So I'd say if you're looking at a championship battle tonight, it's Ollie, Mike and John Boy are your three guys who are going to be sort of in it for the top prizes. But tonight we've got RJ Dale leading us around for this formation. He'll be the first driver to get us underway. Drivers who I'm going to be watching out for near the front, Big Blue, Nick DeVilla going to be Johnny on the spot there. You bet that these two are going to be there waiting to try and pounce and potentially nick a race win here with the likes of John Boy, Mike and Ollie obviously down at the back with this reverse grid. And Nick DeVilla's been a driver who has actually got a couple of race wins, not just in the Clios, but also the touring cars as well. I'll tell you, the problem with Nick is that he's inconsistent. He's actually got some very good pace, but inconsistency plagues his championship position a lot of the time. So he's a driver who can take a win if he's got a good position. He can definitely nick a few wins here and there. But RJ Dale nonetheless leads us coming down towards Redgate's here for the first time. There's Big Blue ahead of Doris, followed by Nick. You've got Park Weeper, Ozzy, ahead of Charlie, Smokey, John Boy, Mike and Ollie. And no position changes so far. Their line of stern here as they come through the first few corners. But RJ Dale's got Big Blue hassling the back of him as they're coming through the Craner curves here for the first time. And looks like there's no dramas so far. We're all very clean here as we come through the Craners. Into the old hairpin we go. RJ Dale's got it through cleanly. As Big Blue here's got a great run coming up the hill though. And I think this is going to be the lead here for Big Blue. RJ Dale did not get the run at all coming out of the old hairpin. And here we go. Big Blue now takes the lead here up the hill as we come through this series of right-handers. But RJ Dale's trying to keep the grip on the outside, but he's going to go a little bit wide. Does he keep the momentum up the hill? He does keep the momentum. And Big Blue and RJ Dale are going to be side by side here coming up towards Coppice. As here we go. RJ Dale there trying to hold it around the outside. Big Blue there on the inside, keeping it there, and I think he's going to have this move done here coming out onto the back straight. So Big Blue there squeezing through, and he gets ahead of RJ Dale up into the lead of the race. You can see Doris Steer in the background ahead of Nick DeVilla. Nick DeVilla's looking to the inside here though on Doris Steer as they come down towards the final chicane. And Doris Steer goes a little bit late on the brakes, keeps it around the outside. Nick DeVilla can't get anything done there just at the moment as Charlie Goff there gets a bit of a tap there in the rear from Smokey Devil, and Mike there trying to squeeze through ahead of John Boy. These two are side by side coming down the start-finish straight, about to complete the first lap of the race. And John Boy and Mike, these two old rivals, are literally a few centimetres away from each other as they're coming down in towards Redgates. It's RJ Dale leading though with Big Blue's to try and get the move done as RJ Dale wide there coming out of Redgates, and Big Blue there moves himself through up into the lead. Is he going to get a decent enough run here coming down through the Craner curves? He is going to get a good run. Big Blue there up into the lead, so he's done that one beautifully there. Doris Steer squeezing ahead of Park Pooper. Park Pooper trying to attack with him here coming into the old hairpin, but for the time being Doris Steer still ahead of him at the moment. RJ Dale ahead of Smokey, and there's somebody's off in the background. Who's that? Who's gone wide? It's Ozzy Albie there who's lost it on the exit of the old hairpin and onto the gravel there. He's had an absolute nightmare there, and Ozzy Albie down to the back and well off of everybody else so far in this race. He'll be absolutely fuming with that one. As John Boy's made the move down the inside of Smokey Devil, but Smokey's trying to keep it around the outside here. As you can see, Mike pushing the back of John Boy as they come up the hill, but Smokey's managed to get a run up the hill and kept ahead of John Boy. John Boy now having to defend from Mike, who's looking to try and attack on the outside, coming out of Coppice for the second time here at Racing Speeds. They've gapped Ollie, so Ollie's made a mistake here of some description because he's now nowhere near these guys. Not quite sure what's happened there to Ollie, but RJ Dale stayed and Nick DeVilla with Doris Park, but these five have broken away from everybody else here. Smokey's still ahead of John Boy right now as they come through the chicane. Bit of a slide there from Smokey, but John Boy also a bit of a slide in the background, and no changes here, but John Boy's having to defend because Mike's looking to the outside here coming down towards Redgates here for the fourth time in this race. Mike Gaving trying to look to the outside, but to no avail because John Boy's looking down the inside of Smokey here, and Smokey's got to watch out. John Boy's surely not going to get enough momentum there coming out of the corner. No, he doesn't. In fact, now he's going to be open to Mike, who's now looking down the inside of him. So John Boy went for a move and then lost out due to going a little bit too ambitious there on the back of Smokey Devil. And I've said before, front wheel drive cars, it's like a boxing match. If you go for a knockout, if you try and go too aggressive, you leave yourself open to a counter from the driver behind. You know, you try and gain a position, you end up losing a position, and it's so often the case. But you can see here Mike now looking to the inside of Smokey here up the hill. He's going to look down the inside, bit of contact there between them as Smokey trying to keep it around the outside. And now John Boy's trying to get involved in this one as well, as he's looking down the inside, has to back out of it, thinks better of it because he's never going to get that one done in a month of Sundays, and he knows that perfectly well. But Mike here looking to the inside here on the exit of Coppice here, coming out onto the back straight. He gets the move done there on Smokey, so Mike there up into into P7. Beautifully done there from him. And Nick Lavilla here is still leading. He's got ahead of Big Blue there up into P1. So Nick Lavilla's done brilliantly there. Big Blue there losing the position. I didn't see where he did that one, but Nick is your new race leader. And I said earlier on, he's always able to clinch a victory whenever it sort of presents itself. And currently Big Blue trying to come back at Nick Lavilla in towards Redgates, but he's not going to be able to do that one. And has to tuck in for the time being here. But it's Nick from Big Blue, from RJ Dale, the top three. Doris Park Pooper, you can see Charlie there. Who's that? No, it wasn't Charlie, so it was Mike who was running wide there coming out of Redgate. So Mike there making a bit of a mistake. But I'll tell you what, this pack of cars, Charlie, Mike, John Boy, Smokey, Ollie, they're all closing in on the top five now. The top five had broken away after the first couple of laps. It's not the story now. The story is that the chasing pack are getting closer to the lead pack at this stage in the race. Oh no! What's happened there? There's been a big incident there coming up the hill. RJ Dale seemed to lose it. I didn't see who tagged him around. Must have been Doris Steer, because those two are off onto the grass. So RJ Dale and Doris Steer there have had a big crash there. That looked like an aircraft crash between the two of them. They were just all over the place. And they're down to 10th and 11th places. They're down to the back of the pack. But Big Blue leads the race ahead, and they're followed by Park Pooper there in third. Mike into fourth place with Charlie right behind them as well. And as John Boy's ahead of Smokey now, and Ollie trying to attack on the back of Smokey here. As he's looking down the inside into the final chicane, bit of contact there between them, but Ollie gets the move done there up into 7th place. But absolute chaos there as they came through the middle part of the lap. And Big Blue still leading ahead of Nick Lavilla, followed by Park Pooper. But a disaster there for both RJ Dale and Doris Steer. And they're down to the back of the pack, as I said before. And it's going to be a real frustrating moment there for both of those two. But we're still watching a battle here for the lead, with Big Blue currently heading Nick Lavilla, Park Pooper, and Mike still within a second of the lead at this point. Charlie and John Boy right there with Ollie and Smokey as well. But three drivers here dropping off for the lead pack right now, with Aussie, RJ Dale and Doris Steer nowhere to be seen. But the top 8 is separated by 3 seconds still, so it's still anyone's race here in this first race of the night. As Nick Lavilla there gets onto the grass, did a very similar thing to what RJ Dale did on the previous lap, but seems to manage to get hold of it again, as he's got Mike looking to his inside there, but Mike can't get anything done. Mike's got Park Pooper around his outside, but Mike has actually made that move on Park Pooper up into third place. Or has he? Because Park Pooper's trying to keep it there. Mike does get the move done up into third, and Park Pooper very wide as well, and John Boy gets the move done up into fourth place, and so does Charlie as well. So Park Pooper losing more places here, down to P6 in this race. Park Pooper's had a horror show coming through that section of the track. But Big Blue still leading ahead of Nick Lavilla, followed by Mike, John Boy, Charlie, and there's Park Pooper who's now got Ollie looking to his inside into the final chicane, and Ollie gets that move done up into P6, and Park Pooper wide there onto the gravel. He's now going to lose out to Smokey Devil as well, and Park Pooper drops down to the back of the lead pack. 1.8 seconds covering the top 8 drivers here as Big Blue's into the pits. So did he have a drive-through maybe? As we got Nick Lavilla with John Boy looking down his outside, and Mike down the inside. Wow, we're 3 wide into Redgates. Oh no! And Mike tags Nick Lavilla around, and that was so close there. That was so tight between the two of them. Nick Lavilla somehow managed to hold on to that one. And Mike looking to the inside here, coming through the crane of curves. John Boy pushing Nick along, and they've got to be careful here, because they've got to realise they're 3 wide. And Nick Lavilla gets sideways. Oh no! And Nick Lavilla's gone off onto the tyre barriers there. He just didn't know where to go or where to position his car. Mike now squeezes through up into the lead of the race with John Boy in second place, and Charlie and Ollie right there as well. Smokey's on the back of these guys. There's 5 for the lead right now, but Nick Lavilla is going to be absolutely fuming with that, because he was driving a cracker of a race, and he's down to 8th place here in this one, as we can go back to the battle for the lead, because Ollie's looking down the inside of Mike here coming into the coppice corner, and Ollie makes the move for the lead. So he's done that one brilliantly there as Ollie Marr, capitalising on everything going on around him, and currently is P1 here in this first race of the night. Unbelievable scenes there though. Nick Lavilla down to P8 in this race, as we're coming down towards the chicane once again, as Mike's trying to push him along a little bit. Oh, Smokey's sending one down the inside. Wow, where did that come from? Smokey there gets himself ahead of Mike. I did not see that one coming. So Smokey Devil there gets himself up into P2, now on the back of Ollie. But Mike's trying to come back at him coming down the start finish straight, but Smokey somehow managed to get himself into P2 there. I don't know how he did that. Was Mike just sleeping or something into the chicane? Because it's very unlike Mike to get out brake like that, and Smokey wasn't exactly going late on the brakes. You could see he made the corner quite comfortably, but Mike here now looking to get back at Smokey here, coming down through the crane of curves as we're side by side here. Smokey's got the inside, and we'll have that one covered off there. Mike a bit of a slide in the background, has got John Boy now attacking on him into the old hairpin, and John Boy can't get that one done there on the back of Mike. Mike still holds on for third place there. But top 4 separated by just over a second. Charlie, Park Pooper haven't dropped off for them either, so 2.5 seconds separating the lead pack of cars. But Big Blue dropping out of the battle, obviously Nick Lavilla as well. RJ Dale seems to have fallen off of the lead pack as well, so we're down to 6 cars here, separated by 2.5 seconds. Oh, who's that? Somebody's gone off. Oh no, who was that? Was that car? No, it wasn't. It was John Boy. No. What happened there? Who was that? I saw a car go off. I'm sure I saw a car go off. I'm sure I did. I didn't imagine that, did I? I thought I saw a bit of paint going off onto the grass on the right hand side as they were coming up to the court. It might have actually been a braking marker. Thinking about it, it might have been a braking marker. I don't know, I just saw something fly off onto the grass. It might have been a braking marker. But back to the battle for the lead. Smokey here looking to the outside of Ollie here, coming down towards Redgate, as Mike now looking down the inside as well. And Mike's going to send one here into turn one. Is he going to get that one done? He pushes him a little bit wide there. Oh, and there's contact there. Smokey hits Mike in the rear as well. As Ollie now looking to the outside here, coming through turn two. But Mike squeezing back through again and getting that manoeuvre done. And Charlie now looking to try and attack on the back of Smokey here, coming down the crane of curves. Incredible racing here between these guys. There's Mike there, massive slide there going through the old hairpin, but gets it turned in, manages to survive. But Ollie's going to get a much better run here coming up the hill, and he's going to look to try and capitalise on this if he can. But he's got nowhere to go here, and he's going to have to tuck back in for the time being. So Ollie there, not able to really punish Mike for that little mistake coming out of the old hairpin, still has to tuck in for the time being. But some absolutely electric action here at the start of this race. This has been absolutely superb to watch here, and the Clio Cup usually doesn't disappoint. It's been absolutely cracking action so far here at Donington Park, and currently 3 seconds separating the top 6 drivers right now as they're coming down towards the chicane once again. Ollie down to the outside of here as Mike defends the inside line as we're coming to the chicane again. There's Smokey there ahead of Charlie with John Boy, and Parker seems to have dropped off for the lead, back ever so slightly now, so it could now be 5 for the lead here in this first race of the night. Over the line here to start lap 10 of the race. There are your top 6 right now coming through your shop. What racing it has been here tonight. And it is currently the top 2 in the championship. Showing away. Oh, and they both go wide there coming out of turn 1. They're certainly not showing everybody else how it's done, that's for sure. Not through turn 1 anyway. But holding on to it. Wow. And they didn't really lose any time at all. So it looked like they might have gained an advantage from running wide there. Which the stewards might be interested in. But... yeah, for sure. Mike and Ollie still continuing on their way like nothing happened there then. But Smokey just over a second off of the lead. You've got John Boy now trying to attack on the back of Charlie Goff here as they're coming through this first of the right-handers here. And John Boy there swoops around the outside, goes a little bit wide there for good measure, but gets the move done there on Charlie. And John Boy up into 4th place. That was a really ballsy move. It wasn't a perfect move because he went wide onto the grass, but... certainly quite a brave move around the outside there and gets it done up into 4th place. But Mike here defending from Ollie as they come into the forwards, the final chicane once again. Smokey just seems to be dropping off for them a little bit at this stage. John Boy now in clean air ahead of Charlie, can now try and chase after Smokey. He's already on the back of Smokey though, because they're in such a tight pack here that there's not really any breathing space between drivers. And John Boy now looking to try and get Smokey here into turn 1. And here he goes, looking down the inside is John Boy. Smokey goes a little bit deep as he has to leave John Boy a space in the foreground. You can see Ollie there getting it horribly wide out of turn 2. Sorry, turn 1 even. And every single lap he seems to be doing the same thing. It's not really the line that you want to be taking through there, Ollie. But at the moment, Ollie's getting away with it because Smokey and John Boy battling behind him, too worried about focusing on each other, and they're not really closing in on him at this point. But Ollie seems to be dropping off at the back of Mike a little bit at this stage in the race. He needs to get his head in the game because Mike will be gaining points on him, and obviously with those two so close in the championship, that is not what Ollie needs at all. But John Boy almost pushing Smokey along right now. These guys are about a second clear of Charlie Goff, so Charlie could bring himself into the battle for the podiums if he keeps himself there. Parkwood was a little bit wide there onto the grass, but is still continuing on his way at the moment. But currently Mike leading ahead of Ollie as he's, for some reason, goodness knows why, he's taking a defensive line when he's nearly a second ahead of Ollie, so I'm not quite sure what he's doing there. But Smokey is still ahead of John Boy. There's Charlie running in P5 at the moment as we're coming over the line here to start lap 12 of the race. We've got 5 laps left to go here in the first race of the night here for the Clio Cup, round 7, race 1 of the night. Obviously race 19 of a 24 race season. As John Boy here down the inside of Smokey into turn 1, and he gets that one done up into the podium places. Lovely manoeuvre there from John Boy. Charlie off just a second off at the back of Smokey as Park over there really wide coming out of turn 1. Really struggling at the moment to keep up with the top 5 drivers, but Ollie keeping it within a second of Mike at this point. Haven't had a chance to read the comments because it's been non-stop action here. Sebastian Perez Sosa says, hello Andy, hello, good to see you, Sebastian. We've got Tony Zero saying, hi, long time no see to PC 2 on Tuesdays. Yeah, I know, mate. I know. It's been a shame because obviously you joined us for a couple of races, but haven't been around the last couple of weeks. I sent you a friend request, says Sebastian. Okay, no worries. I will. I'll get back to you on that one, mate. Yeah, I mean, if you want to join Project Cars 2, we're on Tuesdays and Thursdays, ACC Wednesdays and Sundays, and F1 on Fridays as well. So yeah, if you fancy it, definitely come along. www.motiveracing.com is the link. It is in the description as well. Yeah, good luck, Sebastian. It says Totally Zero to your first race. But yeah, back to the battles here, because we've got Mike and Ollie 0.8 of a second apart, the two top championship contenders. They've got John Boy, who sits third in the standings right now, running about 3 seconds behind them, but John Boy's got work to do and he's going to be losing more points to them. That's the last thing that he needs, being that he is trailing both of these two in the points coming into this week. And obviously we're in the business end of the season now, only 5 races left in the season after this race here, so it's really getting to crunch time. Obviously after tonight there'll only be 3 races left. There'll be the final round next week, a final race which I believe is at Silverstone National, unless I'm very much mistaken, which I could be, but I think it's Silverstone National next week for the Clios. I hope it is. It might be international, I'm not sure. To be fair, I hope it's international. I hope it's national, because national was my favourite of the Silverstone configurations. But currently Mike and Ollie coming out onto the back straight here, 0.6 of a second apart in this battle for the lead, and they've got plenty of a gap right now back to John Boy, who's flashing his lights like crazy here, flashing his lights like he's trying to pull someone over. Park Pooper there in the background has got Aussie closing in on him, so wonder if Aussie can maybe nick a P6 at the end of this race. But coming over the line here to start lap 14. We've got 3 laps left to go here at Donington National for the first race of the night for the Clio Cup here, round 7 of season 14. And it's currently still Mike from Ollie from John Boy. There's Smokey ahead of Charlie. Park Pooper there running in P6 at the moment ahead of Aussie. But here come the 2 leaders through the crane of curves once again here. Totally Zero says, work called up with me this week. I'm working in the background listening to this radio playing live. Good to know that I'm providing a good enough descriptive backdrop for you to be able to not even watch it. Hopefully I'm giving you a good insight into what's going on here. But Charlie's still on the back of Smokey. You can see these guys batting out of P5 and 6. Park Pooper has got just over a second to Aussie Albie, but Aussie Albie's still continuing to read him in a little bit here at this point. Doris Deer running ahead of RJ Dale in a battle for P8 and 9. As Mike's just gapped Ollie a little bit by just over a second here, so Mike looking a bit more comfortable in the race lead. Smokey just ahead of Charlie as they're coming down towards the final chicane. And Charlie's still not able to really get on terms with Smokey at this point. Coming over the line here to start lap 15 of the race. 2 laps left to go here at Donny for this first race of the night. Mike looking ever more comfortable here in the race lead. And things starting to settle down a little bit now. John Boy looking more comfortable in that 3rd place. He's pulling away from Smokey and Charlie. But I tell you what, the battle between Smokey and Charlie is certainly not done yet. These two might be battling this one out to the checker flag, possibly. Emma says in the comments, Silverstone National next week. Thank you very much, Emma. Appreciate that. You're my eyes on the Discord whilst I focus on the race. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Totally Zero says, when I hear, oh, what has happened there, I look and see. That's the drama. Well, I'm glad that I'm making it clear when you should look at the screen. But Mike currently still leading this race as we're coming through to the end of the lap. Oh, and Ollie's got it wrong there. Coming out of Coppice corner. And where is he going to rejoin there? Is he going to rejoin in front of John Boy? He gets it back on the track and he's just about going again before John Boy appears on the scene. He's got just over a second to John Boy on the track, so he should be okay to hold on for 2nd place in this race as we're about to start the final lap of the race. But a huge mistake there from Ollie. And if John Boy hadn't had a bit of a scrappy first race of the night, then it could have cost him 2nd place here. He's going to have John Boy on the back of him for the entirety of this final lap of the race. Mike has now been handed a bit of a walkover here for the end of this first race of the night. But Charlie here has dropped off at the back of John Boy. Smokey's fallen off at the back of Charlie here. So Charlie now looking more comfortable in that 4th place. Park Pooper's got Aussie arriving on the scene here in this battle for P6. This one's been sort of appearing on the horizon for a little while now. RJ Dale here just ahead of Doris Steer. Looks a bit more comfortable in that 8th spot. And there's Nick running in P10. Big Blue running in P11 after that nightmare in the first couple of laps of this race, but Mike currently got a half lap left to go here in this race. Can Ollie stay ahead of John Boy all the way to the checkered flag here? John Boy's going to throw the kitchen sink at him. He needs to gain points on Ollie, obviously, because he comes into this 26 points behind him in the championship. He needs to be gaining points rather than losing them, but I think it's going to be too late. I think that Ollie should be able to hold on. He's only got the chicane to go. Mike, though, coming into the final chicane, and it's going to be another victory for Mike here in season 14, and he's going to close the gap to Ollie a little bit in the championship, not by much. It was 10 points. It's now going to be 8 points. Mike, though, nonetheless, with a great race win here in the first race of the night. It's going to be Ollie for second, and John Boy completes the podium here. So gap in the points between Ollie and Mike, now 8 points in the championship. Charlie takes fourth ahead of Smokey, who comes over in P5 ahead of Park Pooper sixth, followed by Ozzy in 7th place. Ozzy couldn't quite get Park Pooper at the end there, but he pushed it all the way. Just missed out by a narrow margin there. RJ Dale is going to take home 8th place here ahead of Doris Deer as those two come over the line. In fact, RJ Dale lets Doris Deer pass. So Doris takes P8 and RJ Dale P9. Nick over to complete the top 10, and Big Blue will be the last driver over the line here in P11. And that is that for the first race of the night. So Mike there taking the win ahead of Ollie and John Boy. Mike also getting fastest lap, so he gets the bonus 2 points there for Mike. So the gap will be 6 points in the championship now between Ollie and Mike. John Boy seems to be dropping out of the championship contention a little bit now. He's now 28 points behind Ollie in the championship, but Ollie and Mike separated by 6 points coming into the next 2 races here tonight, guys. Stay tuned, because we'll be back in about 5 minutes or so for the second race. Qualifying session for the second race. Right then everybody, welcome back for the second race of the night. We're here for the qualifying session which precedes the second race here at Donington National tonight for the Clio Cup for season 14. Championship standings looking like this before the drop rounds. So Olimar leads the way on 536 points. He's 82 points clear of Mike, who sits in second on 454, but Mike has a drop round in hand which we'll come to in a bit. John Boy in third place now on 432 points. He's 22 points behind Mike in the championship, and I think realistically out of contention here. Cobb fourth on 352 points. He's 10 points clear of Smokey, who sits in fifth on 342 points. Charlie Goff is in sixth on 330. Only 6 points clear ahead of Ozzy Albi, who is seventh on 324 points. Parp Hooper is in 8th place in the standings on 302 points, and Nick Lavilla moves ahead of Jay up into 9th in the standings on 272 points. Jay 10th on 268. Diabetic Lamb sits in 11th on 190 points ahead of Doris Deer, who is in 12th on 180 points. He's 10 points clear of Big Blue, who sits in 13th on 170 points. Iceman is in 14th on 106 points ahead of RJ Dale, who moves ahead of the Mutts Nuts, Gary and Amaskill into 15th place on 68 points to RJ Dale. Mutts Nuts in 16th on 66 points, tied with Gary also on 66 points in 17th. Amaskill 18th on 64 points ahead of Totally Zero, who sits in 19th on 36 points, and Revolt Detailer rounding out the standings on 16 points in 20th place. But obviously not all of those here tonight, as you can see. But yeah, situation in the championship. I'm going to read out the scores with the drop rounds for just the top three because it gets very confusing otherwise, and I do not have the time to work it out right now. But essentially, Olimar is the only one of the top three who drops any points, because both Mike and John Boy have actually missed around this season, so they don't drop any points from their drop score. So Ollie, his worst result of the season, and it's quite unbelievable when you think about it, his worst round he scored 76 points, which is really quite remarkable. But because he dropped 76 points, he goes from 536 points to 460, which means he's only 6 points ahead of Mike, who is in second on 454 points. So the championship gap between Ollie and Mike is only 6 points. John Boy is in third on 432, and he is 28 points behind Ollie in the championship. So John Boy needs to have a very, very strong end to this season and hope that the other two run into problems, I think, realistically, to have a shot in this title race. But anything can happen. I mean, we've got 5 races left to go. Obviously, you know, one of those two or both of those two could end up having a big shunt, and then obviously he's right back in it. So we don't know what's going to happen over the course of the next 5 races. But John Boy's currently on provisional pole here for this second race of the night. He's got 6/10 of a gap in this qualifying session over Nick Lavilla, who's second. Ollie's currently third place at the moment. They're on their final flying laps now, because obviously we're at the end of the session. The clock's hit 0, which means that they can finish the lap that they're on, but then once that's done, they can, yeah, that's it. They've got to just get it done. They've got to get it done now or forever hold their peace. But Mike's improved the pole time there, so he's gone 3/10 quicker than John Boy, but John Boy's on a flying lap here, so Mike currently on provisional pole. What can John Boy find here at the end of this session as he comes up towards the line? He improves, but not by enough, so Mike's still on provisional pole at the moment. Looking like Mike is going to be good for P1. Ollie comes over, P4 for him, not good enough. What about Nick Lavilla? He's just finishing a lap now. Ozzy's out there, but he's finished, so is RJ Dale, who's just starting out the last corner there. So he comes up towards the line. What is it for? No, he comes in. Oh, he comes into the pits. Wait, what? Who's that there? Oh, it's Big Blue. And Big Blue slowed down, so he's not going to improve either. So Nick Lavilla will be the last driver over the line as he comes over now, and he improves, but not by enough. In fact, no, he did improve to go up into P3. So Nick Lavilla no, he was already P3. Sorry, ignore me. Sorry, I'm talking rubbish. So Mike there, P1. John Boy, P2. Nick Lavilla in third place with Olimar on the second row. Charlie Goff ahead of Doris Deer, with Ozzy Albi 7th ahead of RJ Dale, followed by Big Blue, then Smokey Devil rounding out the top 10, and Parp Hooper will start this second race from P11 on the grid, having not set a lap time. So here we are then, guys, getting ready to go for the second race of the night. We're lining up on the grid here. Mike there doing a fantastic pole up there, putting it on pole by just over a tenth and a half to John Boy. But I reckon it's going to be a close race between these guys. Ollie on a second row behind his two championship rivals. Nick Levilla in between the championship rivals here in the midst of it all. Charlie Thorist on the third row with Ozzy and RJ Dale there on the fourth row. Big Blue and Smokey and Part Pooper at the back of the pack here. What is going to happen in this second race of the night? We can see all the drivers now, just their cars coming off the invisible jacks and onto the racetrack. And then obviously we'll get the screen will flicker on and off, and it will say sync in, and that will know. Then we'll know that we're locked in and ready to go for this second race of the night. So here we go then. Moments away from the second race, and it's lights out and away we go. We're underway here, and looks like Mike didn't get the best of starts. John Boy looking to the outside here already in towards the red gates. He's attacking here on the back of him, but Mike's going to cover him off here coming into turn one. Nick Levilla there in third ahead of Charlie Goff, but Ollie there's going to move through ahead of Charlie up into fourth place. So Ollie's done a great manoeuvre there. Somebody's very wide in the background. I think that's Part Pooper there who got it a bit wrong on the exit of turn one as he's lost out to Smoky Devil there, but it's Mike ahead of John Boy, and John Boy's actually squeezing through ahead of Mike there, coming through the crane of curves into the old hairpin. It's John Boy now leading the race ahead of Mike, and no other changes in the order right now, but the race lead has changed hands, and John Boy there getting a one over on his old rival right now, and potentially looking to try and gain some points here in this championship battle, which he trails to Ollie, the championship leader, by 28 points. He's 22 points behind Mike, but John Boy here doing everything he can to try and keep himself in this battle right now as they come up towards Coppice for the first time. It's John Boy from Mike from Nick Levilla. There's Ollie ahead of Charlie, followed by Thoris here, Big Blue, Alzi Albi, Smokey, Part Pooper, and RJ Dale running at the back there in P11 in this race. 3 seconds covering all 11 cars right now as they come down towards the final chicane for the first time here in the second race. As Mike here trying to attack to the outside of John Boy. John Boy covering the inside line off, coming into the braking zone. Bit of a lock up there from John Boy as he tried to get the car turned in, manages to do so, goes a little bit wide on the exit, but Mike's got a great run here coming out of the final corner as we come down the start finish straight now. Is Mike going to be able to make a move coming into red gates here? John Boy defending the inside line off as he's just keeping ahead there, but Mike's going to try and squeeze past him here. John Boy with the inside line covers it off, and he's going to get it turned in nicely there. Mike's got the momentum though around the outside. John Boy trying to squeeze him to the edge of the track, trying to put him off a little bit. John Boy got the run there coming down towards the crane of curves and should be able to hold on for this one. And John Boy does hold on just about as Mike there taking a very tight line. But John Boy will have the inside for the old hairpin. Should be able to cover this one off once again. He's going to have to leave the space though, because Mike's looking around the outside of Mike there. But a great manoeuvre around the outside. Incredible racing there from Mike. And he manages to make that gap work. And somehow he's leading this race here ahead of John Boy. Nick Levilla's managed to keep ahead of Ollie for the time being. Charlie there ahead of Doris Deer. But Mike there seizing the lead off of John Boy. Just managing to thread the needle by the skin of his teeth there. As we come towards Coppice once again. John Boy now has got to get it done once again. It's now Nick Levilla keeping to the inside of Ollie. Ollie very wide there coming through Coppice. And he's sideways there as well. And Charlie and Doris making their way through. Ollie, the championship leader, down to P6 here on the first lap. Down to P7 now because Big Blue's got ahead of him as well. So Ollie's had a horror show at the start to this second race of the night. Mike and John Boy battling it out as Doris looking to the inside of Nick, but can't get it done. And Nick keeping ahead of Charlie Goff. Doris there getting a horrible run there coming through the chicane. And Big Blue's going to have a heck of a run and coming down the start finish straight. Is he going to be able to make a move here? As Big Blue's currently in the middle of a sandwich here. You've got Doris on the inside, Ollie looking to the outside as well. As Doris D has to back out of that one. Ollie looking to the outside of Big Blue. Big Blue's going to cover the inside line off, and Ollie just giving Big Blue a bit of a tap there coming through turn one. As Big Blue there, Big Blue very wide there coming out of turn one, but somehow manages to keep ahead of Doris there and Ollie. Ollie's going to look to the inside here with Doris. Bit of a slide there from Ollie, but he gets it done around the outside of the old hairpin into 6th place there. Smoky in the background of the Albi, followed by Part Pooper and Archidale currently rounding out the pack here in P11 in this race, but it's still Mike and John Boy fighting out for the lead. These two have gapped the rest of them by quite some way here in the first couple of laps of this race. Absolute dramatic start to this second race. We've seen a few thrills and spills, but everybody currently still in the lead pack right now. 5 seconds covering all 11 drivers here as we're on lap 3 of this race. But I tell you what, these two have absolutely left the rest of them for dead here as they're coming down the back straight. You can see currently 0.4 of a second between Mike and John Boy as they're coming into this final chicane. There's Nick running ahead of Charlie, and those two have actually gapped Big Blue and Ollie a little bit. Ollie down to the outside of Big Blue into the final chicane. Does he get it done? Ollie there with a great manoeuvre. Goes a bit wide on the exit, but Ollie Marr, absolutely fantastic overtake there on Big Blue. Really understated. I think a lot of people wouldn't have noticed how much grit you have to do that. But Big Blue back down the inside in towards Red Gates, and he's going to return a favour here on Ollie, maybe. Ollie just keeps it around the outside. Bit of contact there between them. Oh, as Ollie gets pushed off, and he's going to just about miss the braking marker there. No, what's going on? Handbags in between these guys. Ollie there waiting to the side of Smokey Devil, and Smokey there off, and so is Big Blue as well. So Smokey and Big Blue there losing out massively. I'm going to have to look at the replay for that one. I think Ollie went into the side of both of them there. What a shame there for Big Blue and Smokey being caught up in that one. But Mike's still ahead of John Boy right now. There's Nick the Villa running in third place, just ahead of Charlie Goff. And Ollie there running in P5 in this race at the moment, with Doris Steer on the back of him. But this is, well, it's a bit of a scrappy race really in this one. Big Blue well off at the back of the pack now, 17 seconds off at the race lead, in 11th place in this race. John Boy still attacking on the back of Mike here, coming down towards the chicane. We need Project Cars damage visuals in ACC. Yeah, we definitely do, mate. They are absolutely spectacular, but ACC probably replicates the handling of a damaged car a bit better than Project Cars 2 does. So yeah, I suppose if you want visuals, play Project Cars 2. If you want realism, play ACC. But currently Ollie here running in P5, so obviously he's got away scot-free with that, whatever that was going on between himself, Smokey and Big Blue. Ozzy's now running in 10th place, so what's happened here to Ozzy? I don't quite know what's happened to Ozzy. Was he caught up in that incident? I'm not sure. If anybody watching the stream knows or noticed that on the leaderboard when that happened, then just let us know. But Mike's still ahead of John Boy right now as they're coming through into the middle part of this lap here on lap 5 of this second race of the night. These guys have gapped Nick by a considerable amount, who's running in third place. John Boy needs to finish ahead of Ollie in this race, and he's got, oh sorry, Mike even, and he's done that move there as John Boy up into the lead, so he's got himself up the inside here into Coppice corner. Mike must have made a bit of a mistake there as we were just flicking away onto Nick the Villa, and John Boy here takes the lead here at Donington Park for the second race of the night as Mike's looking to try and get a bit of a run here, coming down towards the chicane. John Boy here with the inside line covered off. Who's going to come out of this one in the lead? John Boy surely with the preferred line, should be able to hold on to this one. Mike there onto the grass in a bit, sideways there on the entry to the corner. And John Boy there gets the move done up into the league. He gets that one completed there. Down the start finish straight we come. Mike with it into the slipstream now, looking to the outside. John Boy's going to cover it off coming into Red Gates. As John Boy now reverts back to the racing line and gets it turned in and manages to keep ahead of Mike very nicely there. But John Boy, now your new race leader, but Mike there getting a better run coming through Red Gates. Here we come, through Hollywoods we go, side by side between the two leaders, and Mike's going to retake it here on John Boy because John Boy did not have any momentum there whatsoever. As through the crane as we go. John Boy losing out to Mike again into the old hairpin, and Mike here takes P1 back off of John Boy. These guys are coming up on Big Blue, so they will be lapping a bit of traffic in a moment. Big Blue has had to come in for damage repairs by the looks of it, and we'll have both of these two making a move on him in a few moments time. But Mike and John Boy, these two giving each other a real good scrap here right now. They're 4 seconds clear of Nick the Villa, who doesn't seem to have an answer for them at this point. Ollie stuck in a bit of traffic here. He's on the back of Charlie Goff. He's got a lot of work to do to get himself on the podium here in this second race of the night. As there's Big Blue getting well out of the way of the two leaders. Wanted absolutely none of that. Said, sorry boys, I'm not going to be the one that you blame for any incidents or any nightmares or tragedies that might occur in your championships. I'm having nothing to do with this whatsoever. Gets himself well out of the way onto the grass, and Mike and John Boy able to continue on their way without any dramas. But Nick the Villa there running in third place. He's got about a couple of seconds back to Charlie Goff. There's Ollie ahead of Park Pooper and Doris Steer. There's big train of cars here pretty much battling over what's third place in the race. So you've got fourth place actually, but you've got basically 7 cars here in a line. And I think that they're just about to lap Big Blue as well. As in the background, that's Doris Steer there getting it wrong on the exit of Red Gates. Getting it back onto the track in front of Smokey and Ozzy. No, RJ Dale and Ozzy, sorry. But Smokey trying to attack on the back of RJ Dale at the moment, but can't find a gap. These guys are a couple of seconds ahead of Ozzy, who's running in P10 in this race. Back to the battle for the lead though, because Mike and John Boy separated by 0.4 of a second right now as they're coming up towards Coppice here for the 7th time in this race. You can see they're continuing to gap Nick Lavilla consistently here, but Ollie is looking ever closer on the back of Charlie Goff right now as they're coming into Coppice corner, and Ollie's sending one down the inside, goes for the gap there, threading the needle as he gets it over the curve a little bit, and Ollie's surely going to get this one done, but Charlie there with the momentum around the outside, actually keeping onto position quite nicely here. Down the back straight we go. Ollie on the inside is just going to squeeze through ahead of Charlie. Did Charlie let off a little bit there? I think he might have done potentially. I think Charlie has let Ollie go with that one, has thought to himself, no point battling one of the championship contenders here. Oh, Ollie though, very much onto 2 wheels there, coming on the exit of the chicane, but holds on to it and seems to have enough momentum, I think, to stay ahead of Charlie. Charlie has got a run here coming down towards Redgates. Who's going to come out on top in this one? Ollie on the inside, goes later on the brakes and has that manoeuvre done there and gets it done up into 4th place. So Charlie they're not able to come back at Ollie, despite Ollie making a bit of a mistake coming out of the chicane, but Park Hoover attacking on the back of Charlie here and looking to try and get himself a slice at this top 5 action here. Back to battle for the lead though, because John Boy looking around the outside of Mike as these two are going at it. Oh, and Mike tapping John Boy a little bit in the rear, but John Boy sneaks around the outside there up into P1 once again. And these two having a great little scrap, and it's continuing on between them two. It just seems to be going back and forth between them. Every single time we switch over to them, they seem to have swapped positions as we were just watching that manoeuvre get done. John Boy though back up into P1 here. Great battle from these two as they come down towards the final chicane once again. Towards the end of lap 8, they're 6 seconds clear of Nick Lavilla, who's running in 3rd place, as Ollie has got Park Hoover and Charlie in the background here, as Park Hoover down the inside of Charlie Goff into the final chicane and gets himself up into P5. Brilliantly done there from him. RJL, bit of a slide there on the exit of the final chicane. Now Smokey might be able to get a run here. Down the start finish straight we go. But he's going to have to tuck in there. You've got Doris Steer looking to the inside in the background there. Smokey now looking to the inside of RJ Dale into turn 1. Oh, and there's contact there as he pushes him a little bit wide. Doris Steer looking to try and mug them. Oh, and there's contact there between RJ Dale and Doris Steer. They survived though, just about. The two of them managed to get it together. That was a close call there between them, but they managed to keep going just about. That was pretty clutch there. Oh, it's John Boy having to defend from Mike. Mike trying to go around the outside here. Wow, this is close racing between the two leaders. Mike, I think, has got the move done. John Boy's going to have to tuck in, is he, for Coppice? He's going to look back down the inside, actually. And Mike goes a little bit wide there on the exit of the corner, but keeps the momentum round the outside there. Mike back up into the lead here. Excellent scrap here between the two leaders. And John Boy once again having to tuck back in here. As Mike having to defend to the inside here, coming to the final chicane, but John Boy nowhere to go. Has to tuck in once again here. Looking in the background, you've got Park Hoover still just ahead of Charlie Goff as they're coming down towards the final chicane. You've got Smokey there, who's got RJ looking to his inside though. Still not close enough though. John Boy in the meantime has got a great run coming out of Redgates and has got ahead of Mike once again here. And these two continue to do what they've done for the entire race so far. Mike's going to be wondering what he's got to do to stay ahead of John Boy. Well, to be fair, John Boy's probably wondering the same thing about Mike, but these two can't get enough of deciding who's going to be leading the race here. It's like, no, after you, no, after you, no, after you, no, after you between these two. But John Boy once again in P1 here in this race. These guys are 7 seconds clear of Nick Lavilla as well, so despite the fact that they're battling, they're still pulling away from the others. Ollie now in 4th place out of Park Hoover. Now can he try and chase down Nick and nab a podium here and damage limitation here for the championship leader? John Boy needs a result like this, and pretty much a similar result in every single race from here to the end of the season if he is to overhaul Ollie's lead in the championship, which is currently 28 points between Ollie and John Boy. Mike though only 6 points behind Ollie, so as things stand in this race, Mike would cut the gap down to 2 points in the championship between himself and Ollie, and if he were to nab the fastest lap, they'd be tied on points after this race. If Mike can get ahead of John Boy, they'd be tied on points, and if Mike can get ahead of John Boy and get the fastest lap, Mike would be leading the championship by 2 points over Ollie. So Ollie needs to get that gap clawed back to Nick Lavilla, needs to get ahead of him before the end of this race. As in the meantime, we've got Charlie here trying to defend us. Smokey down the inside of Park Hoover there. Smokey gets the move done up into P6. Nicely done there from Smokey Devil. Roger Dale looking to try and get a run here on Park Hoover as well. Park Hoover didn't get a great run coming out of Redgates, and he's going to get this move done here. Is RJ Dale moves himself through, but Park Hoover is still on the inside there for the crane of curves. Arjadale down the inside into the old hairpin. Can he get the move completed here? Park keeping himself there, keeping the momentum up the hill, and should be able to get back ahead up the hill. And Park Pooper there squeezing back through ahead of RJ Dale here. So very persistent driving there from Park Pooper. In the meantime, John Boy and Mike are side by side coming down towards the final chicane. As Mike sends it down the inside there of John Boy. And once again, these two swapping positions. They just can't stop swapping positions right now, these two. It's a great battle between the two of them right now as they're coming down towards Red Gates here for the 12th time in this race. John Boy looking to the outside, but to no avail. Nothing doing there. Charlie and Smokey are side by side coming down the start-finish straight as Charlie looking to the outside here. Can he get this move done here? Doris in the background is attacking on the back of Aussie as well. Charlie's going to go for the cut back here on Smokey. Can't do anything though. Doris ahead of Aussie up into P10. Aussie a massive slide. Oh, and he's got sideways there on the exit of the Red Gates. And Aussie there into the wall, and he's going to lose time to these guys, and he's going to be dropping out of that battle there for P5. It was a 6-car battle for 5th place. It's now a 5-car battle because Aussie there with a bit of a mistake has dropped him out of contention here. As we've got Laura in the comments saying, evening everyone, good luck everyone, come on Smokey Devil. Smokey currently running in P5 at the moment, Laura, doing a good job of keeping this train of cars behind him. But for how much longer is he going to be able to keep them at bay? Oh, it's Charlie, bit of a slide there, gets hit in the back by Park Pooper pushing him round a little bit there. And Smokey there, giving a bit of respite, but Park Pooper there moves himself through. And that was a bit dodgy there from Park Pooper, I've got to say, gave Charlie a bit of a push to pass there. Not what you want to be seeing at all. Smokey still ahead of Park Pooper coming down towards the final chicane. Park Pooper throwing a little feint to the inside, but nothing doing there. It's through the final chicane we come once again. This 5-car battle for P5 continuing to rage on, but Park Pooper here has got the run out coming down the start finish straight and is going to get around the outside of Smokey Devil here up into 5th place, but Smokey looking back down the inside into Red Gates, sends one up the inside there, massive lock up there from Smokey Devil, but he gets it back up into 5th place. Great manoeuvre there from Smokey. And Park Pooper's going to lose out to Charlie as well. Charlie's going to squeeze through, coming through Hollywoods, and into the crane of curves we go. It's Charlie Goff up into 6th place. Park Pooper losing out 2 places. Charlie getting his vengeance there after that previous lap where Park Pooper gave him a bit of a nudge out of the way. Doris here now getting a run on Park Pooper. Park Pooper losing places here, down to 8th place. Doris Steer up into 7th. Smokey still leading this train of cars ahead of Charlie, Doris, Park Pooper and RJ Dale in hot pursuit right now. What a battle this is for 5th place in this second race of the night. As Park Pooper losing out to RJ Dale here. And there's also the lapped car of Big Blue trying to move ahead of him as well. But Big Blue tucks in, and Park Pooper getting a better run out of Coppis here than RJ Dale will probably get ahead of him coming down towards the final chicane. Park Pooper back up into 8th place there ahead of RJ Dale. Smokey still ahead of Charlie, Thoris there right there as well. There's 3 cars here coming into the chicane as Park Pooper very late on the brakes there, closed up onto the back of Thoris massively there as they came into the chicane. We've got to go back to the leaders though, because Mike and John Boy are still fighting it out, but Mike looking a bit more comfortable in this race lead than he has been over the last few laps. He's got nearly half a second over John Boy, which is a bit more than what we've been seeing between these two over the course of most of this race. Charlie here looking to the outside of Smokey, trying to get this move done. Oh, he's in the background. Park Pooper wide onto the grass. Oh my goodness me. Park Pooper there is probably going to lose out to RJ Dale. I think RJ Dale looking to get around the outside here, and he's going to get himself up into 8th place there as RJ Dale. Good move there from him. Ollie has made no impression on Nick at all here, so Ollie's going to have to set up a P4, and with Mike leading the race, Mike will be the championship leader unless John Boy can get ahead of him on this final lap of the race. Into Red Gates we go. John Boy having a look, trying to put him under a bit of pressure here, trying to force him into a mistake if he can, but Mike not taking the bait at this point, standing tall, standing firm, and not being pressured into any kind of mess ups here. 8 of you currently watching the stream, smash the like button guys if you're enjoying what you're watching. Show your appreciation for these guys, because they put on a fantastic show tonight here. I'll go over the course of both of the first 2 races, but especially the second race. These two, Mike and John, were giving no quarter pushing each other to the very last lap of the race. John Boy now looking to the outside here. Can he get a run? Mike defending the inside line. John Boy's going to try and get all the way around the outside here. He's going to get this one done, surely. Getting a bit onto the grass there, but John Boy with the momentum up the hill. He's taking the lead here on the final lap of the race. Up towards Coppice we go. John Boy here is going to try and hold it all the way around him. Mike there on the inside with a tighter line. And John Boy here is going to have the momentum coming out into the back straight. And John Boy's got it done. John Boy takes the lead here coming down towards the final chicane. It's John Boy by the skin of his teeth. Mike looking to the outside here. Can he keep onto this lead for John Boy? Into the final chicane we go. I think John Boy's got a mugged Mike on the final lap as Mike there sideways got onto two wheels there to the first part of the chicane. It's going to be John Boy who's going to take it in the very last lap here. John Boy, your race winner of race 2 of the night with Mike over in second place. What a battle between those two. John Boy did a fantastic job there to nick that one off of Mike. Nick Levilla's going to take third place, and Ollie will be relieved to see that John Boy took the win, because that will mean that he doesn't lose the championship lead. Him and Mike will be tied on points going into this final race of the night. Smokey's going to hold on from Charlie for P5. What a battle those two have to the end. Popular over in 7th, then Arjadale in 8th, followed by Thoriston in 9th with Aussie over in P10. Big Boo's already finished the race a lap down in 11th place. But that was a cracker evident to that race. John Boy taking the win ahead of Mike in 2nd, and Nick Levilla completing the podium there in 3rd place. Fastest lap of the race goes to Mike, so Mike still gets the 2 bonus points, and Mike, yeah, he's tied on points with Ollie. So Ollie and Mike tied on points going into this final race, because Mike scored 4 more points than him in his 2nd race, and obviously he gets 2 extra points as well. So yeah, those two tied on points going into the final race tonight, all to play for in this championship. John Boy doing everything he can to keep himself in this battle, and he closes the gap to 22 points to the other two. So it's still mathematically possible. But guys, we're back very shortly for the final race of the night. Don't go anywhere. We're back soon. Right guys, grid order is going to be this. So it's going to be Big Blue P1, Aussie P2, Doris P3, RJ P4, Park Puma P5, Charlie P6, Smokey P7, Ollie P8, Nick P9, Mike P10, John Boy P11. Bang. Gosh. Right then guys, welcome back for the final race of the night here at Motive for the Clio Cup. This round 7 of season 14, penultimate round of the season. And this is race 21 of a 24 race season after tonight. It'll just be the 1 round and 3 races left next week at Donington National. But after 20 races this season here for the Clio Cup, the championship standings, before drop rounds that is, currently looking like this. So Ollie Marr leads the way on 562 points. He is now 76 points ahead of Mike, who is in second on 486 points. But Mike, with a drop round in hand, will be right on Ollie, and I'll read you out that in a second. We're just starting the formation lap, so we're just we've got a little way to go until we start this race. But John Boy is now third on 464 points. He's 22 points now behind Mike. Smoky Devil moves himself up into 4th in the standings on 366 points, ahead of Cobb, who's already used his drop round, so now that is actually his real points tally. He's now 5th on 352 points. He's now tied with Charlie as well, so Charlie going level with Cobb. He's now P6 on 352 points. He is 14 points clear of Aussie, who is in 7th on 338 points, followed by Park Pooper, who is in 8th on 322. Then you've got Nick the Villa in 9th place in the standings on 300 points. Jay is in 10th on 268 points. Now, Thorister is in 11th on 196 points, with Diabetic Lamb in 12th on 190. Big Blue into 13th on 182 points. They have Iceman in 14th on 106. Arjadale 15th on 86 points. Mutts Nuts in 16th on 66 points, with Gary 17th on 66. Amaskill 18th on 64. Totally Zero 19th on 36. And Revolt Detail 20th on 16 points. But importantly, I'm going to go through the scores with the drop rounds taken into account. Just the top 3, because they're realistically the championship contenders. So now the situation is this: Ollie and Mike tied on points after Ollie drops his best round of the season. So now they're both tied on 486 points. John Boy is third on 464. So John Boy with an outside bet in this championship. But this championship realistically now between Ollie and Mike, with 4 races left in this season. Who is going to go into the final round of the season at Donington National with the championship lead? That's what we're going to find out over the course of this final race of the night here at Donington. As we're coming over the line here, and we are underway here for the final race of the night. As Big Blue leads us into Red Gates for the first time. You can see Park over here looking to the inside of RJ Dale into the first corner, and he's going to make that move surely, although actually RJ Dale keeping it around the outside there. Goes a little bit wide though onto the grass. Park over getting a better exit there and getting himself back up into 4th place, and unfortunately for RJ Dale, he's going to lose out to Charlie as well, so Charlie gets himself up into P5 there. RJ Dale's got Smokey just behind him, but tucks in behind him for the time being. But clean start from everybody. Oh, as I say that, John Boy taps the rear there of Mike, and he's off onto the gravel, and John Boy here, his championship potentially slipping out of his grasp here. He's now 6 seconds off for the race lead. He's had a bit of a moment there, maybe a bit of pressure, obviously feeling it now, knowing that he's got to perform. He's got to outscore Mike and Ollie considerably in the final part of this season if he's to keep himself in that title battle. It's Big Blue leading ahead of Doris Steer, followed by Park Pooper, with Charlie in 4th ahead of RJ Dale. In the background there, John Boy getting it wrong as well, again in the background there, as there is Smokey for getting very wide. Smokey off onto the grass there on the exit of Coppice, and he's going to drop down the order here. He's down in P10 now, just ahead of John Boy, but Big Blue's got nearly a 2-second gap over Doris Steer at the end of the first lap. You've got Park Pooper there all at the back of Doris Steer right now, with Charlie, RJ Dale. Ollie there's got ahead of Aussie up into 6th place, as Nick Levitt's just ahead of Mike there. Mike trying to attack on the back of him, but Ollie's made quick start to this final race of the night. He's up into P6 and has made light work of this traffic in front of him. Mike there running in P9, not so much. He's now looking to the inside here of Nick Levilla in towards Red Gates, but he can't get it done there because Nick's trying to attack on the back of Aussie. But I tell you what, Mike's got a great run there out of Red Gates actually. Can he get the run here on Nick coming through the crane of curves? He might have a chance to do so actually. Here we go through Hollywoods and down into the crane of curves we go, and Mike does get ahead of Nick there up into 8th place. So Mike there managing to get a beautiful exit out of Red Gates, which sets him up perfectly for that sequence. And yeah, 8th place is now Mike's, but Big Blue leading by 2 seconds ahead of Doris Steer at this point. You've got Doris has lost out to Park Pooper, so Park Pooper is now up into 2nd place. Doris here, Mike is out to Charlie as well. Charlie down the inside as he's going to push Doris a little bit wide there, but squeezes through the gap, and now we can see RJ Dale getting ahead of Doris as well. So RJ Dale losing more places. Ollie now looking to the inside of Doris Deer into Coppice. He gets himself into P5 there. Doris getting it all out of sequence there, and Mike's going to move through, and so is Aussie. So Doris there losing a load of places. Nick the Villas now looking to up the inside of him. Is Nick going to be able to get ahead of Doris Deer as well? Coming to the chicane. No, he's not. Tucks in for the time being. John Boy's got ahead of Smokey. So John Boy's cleared one driver here. Obviously after his first lap mistake, he's got a lot of work to do in this race though if he wants to get himself onto the podium. Big Blue ahead of Park with Charlie, and then you've got RJ and Ollie already on the back of the podium positions here. You can see him trying to get ahead of RJ Dale, his teammate on a Thursday night for the touring cars, but no teammates here in the Clio Cup. It's every man for themselves. I say every man for themselves because there are no female drivers in the Clio Cup at the moment. But currently you've got RJ Dale defending the inside into the old hairpin. Ollie going for the cut back here. RJ a little bit wide there onto the grass, and Ollie they're going to get a run up the hill. They're going to be side by side here all the way up and towards the middle part of the lap, and Ollie there with the inside gets himself up into 4th place and gets the move done there. Mike here looking down the inside of RJ Dale, but RJ Dale holding it around the outside for the time being. Into Coppice we go. Big Blue here still leading this one at the moment by 2 seconds over Park Hooper. There's Charlie who's looking to the inside into the final chicane. Is he going to be able to send it up the inside? He's not going to be able to. RJ Dale's got Mike looking all over the back of him here. Mike looking down the inside into turn 1. In the foreground, Ollie looking to the inside of Charlie as well. Ollie's got himself into the podium places. Mike's got ahead of RJ Dale as well. So Ollie and Mike there, both gaining places. The Park people were ever so wide there out of Red Gates. Is Ollie going to be able to get a run here, coming to the crane, coming down Hollywood towards the crane of curves? I don't think he is. Ollie's going to have to tuck in for the time being there. But Park people showing glimpses of a mistake there. Ollie there sideways coming through the old hairpin, massively sideways there from Ollie. As in the background there, RJ Dale also getting it a little bit wrong on the exit of the old hairpin. Oh, Mike giving Charlie a bit of a tap in the rear. But they're holding it together for the time being then. RJ now looking to the outside of Doris, up towards Coppice we go. Nick and John Boy side by side as well. RJ Dale trying to squeeze around the outside here of Nick. Nick getting back ahead of him though on the exit, coming down towards the final chicane. There's John Boy here down the inside of RJ. RJ giving Nick a bit of a tap there, and John Boy seizing the initiative there up at the inside, up into 8th place. And John Boy looking to try and pick up another driver here in the shape of Doris as we come down the start finish straight here. John Boy is going to breeze past him, surely you would think. He's just ahead into the braking zone. Can he keep it around the outside though? Doris there trying to keep himself there. Still side by side between these two. John Boy getting a decent enough exit out of Red Gates. As through Hollywoods we go. Who's going to come out on top in this one? I think John Boy should have the move done into the crane of curves. As here we go, he's got the inside there, into the old hairpin we go. John Boy gets it done up into 7th place. Beautifully done there from him throughout that sequence of corners. Now Nick on the back of Doris here. As Doris a little bit wide onto the grass. Nick's going to pick him off with ease here. And Nick up into 8th place. Job done there for him. As Ollie down the inside of Mike. And Mike around the outside here, and Mike's going to make 2 position gains in the space of a corner there as he comes up towards Coppice corner. He's got that one done there on Park Hooper up, and Mike gaming there beautifully there as Ollie gets ahead of Park Hooper as well, and Park Hooper's got out of sync here. He's got to have Aussie looking to get him on the, coming down his back straight towards the final chicane, and Park Hooper there loses out down to P5. 3 places lost in the space of a couple of corners there, but Mike getting ahead of his championship rival Ollie, which is crucial for him. Aussie defending the inside from Park Hooper into the chicane, and gets himself back up into 4th place there. We've got Gertie in the comments saying, hey, bit late. Yeah, bit later than ever though, I guess, in some cases. Not in every case, but in this one I suppose. But John Boy looking to the inside of Charlie into Red Gates. Oh, Charlie gives Park for a bit of a tap there. But no dice there. As somebody a bit wide on the exit of Red Gates. Big Blue though still leads by just over a second ahead of Mike. Charlie going a bit deep there as they come into the old hairpin. John Boy can't pick him off at the moment, but I tell you what, it's been a really strong comeback drive from John Boy. When you consider the fact that he was last and he was a few seconds off of the pack on the first lap when he made a mistake. He's currently got himself back up into 7th place. He's now down the inside of part of Charlie here, up into P6, and John Boy's got that move done. Job done there for him. Beautifully executed there from John Boy. Charlie now looking back to the outside. Nick's going to try and come with him here. Nick's going to try and get Charlie here on the exit of Coppice. Is he going to be able to get it done? John Boy there down the middle, trying to hold on to this one. He's going to have to defend the inside line here from Charlie. Charlie can't go for a cutback here. Tucks in for the time being. John Boy ahead of Charlie, ahead of Nick. In the meantime, Mike is trying to make a move for the lead here on Big Blue. Big Blue defending the inside line, coming down towards the red gates once again. Side by side here between Big Blue and Mike. Gertin saying, number 5, can't believe it. Oh, he's won a championship. Okay, it's his 5th championship on F122. Well done, mate. Good congratulations. There's Mike there, very wide, coming out of red gates. And Big Blue's going to get him back on the exit here. With the momentum here, down through the crane of curves we go. And Big Blue back up into the lead again ahead of Mike. Great showing from those two. So Mike there. I'll tell you what though, Mike's got a better run coming out of the old hairpin. And he seems to have retaken the lead here ahead of Big Blue. So Big Blue's going to have to relinquish that one. And there is Mike, your race leader once again here. Unbelievable stuff. Charlie onto the grass a little bit there in the background. Mike there was horribly wrong out of Coppice, was onto the grass a little bit there. But actually kept the momentum going somehow. Big Blue's on fire, says Simon Blair. He is absolutely flying, but he's just lost out there. Mike's got around the outside of him. Ollie looking to the inside of Ozzy here, but Ozzy keeping it ahead of him. Ozzy fighting this podium place with everything he's got. Now Park Pooper's going to get around here on Ollie as well. That's the last thing that Ollie needs, and Park Pooper's going to get ahead of Ollie coming down towards red gates. Ollie looking to come back at Park Pooper in towards turn 1, and Ollie's going down the inside of Ozzy as well. Oh wow, that was an ambitious move, and Ollie, that was never going to work out. You've just taken Ozzy out there, mate. And Ollie there getting himself up ahead of Ozzy, but losing out to Park Pooper. Ozzy though down 2 places through no fault of his own, 3 places because John Boy's ahead of him as well. And Ollie there, I have to say, that was not sportsmanlike at all of you there. But nonetheless, he's trying to fight this position here with Park Pooper as they're coming up the hill. But Ollie there defending the inside from Park Pooper and gets the move done there up into 3rd place. Park Pooper trying to come back and coming up towards Coppice. Gertin saying his 6th championships incoming here at Motive. Obviously, he is the championship leader on a Friday night for the F1 League, so you could be right there, mate. You could definitely be on course for another championship. You seem to be ticking him off by the sounds of it. But yeah, he is the runaway championship leader on a Friday night here at Motive, so potentially that could be the case. One sec, guys, I'm going to just take this properly very, very quick. Lovely boy.
Please tell me you've got the keys.
Yes. One. No, I'll have to drop them over, so I'll have to drop them off the shop. I'll also have to remember to leave them on the sales, won't I? Oh, fuck. Did you get that? Yeah, the fact that she left them on the windowsill all night once, but I didn't know they were there. Even when I closed, when I grabbed the spare shutter key out of the tape, that night she left them on the windowsill, took my phone for it, I didn't know. We could have kept them, we could have had them, we could have had us. Yeah, turn it on, yeah. There it is. So right guys, back to the action here. Sorry, just had to take a call very quickly. But Ollie here down the inside of Big Blue into the chicane. Oh, he's gone deep onto the gravel. Oh no, Big Blue there also wide onto the gravel, but Big Blue getting it back ahead of Ollie there. And Ollie's going to be vulnerable to Park Pooper. Park Pooper breezes past him, and here comes John Boy down the inside as well. Unbelievable scenes. Ollie here losing out to John Boy. In the meantime, Mike is leading the race by quite some way, but John Boy there up into 4th place. Ollie trying to keep it around the outside. Can he hold on to the momentum here? I think he has got back around John Boy coming through Hollywoods. But Ollie here in the wars right now as he's got... Oh, there's contact between Ollie and John Boy. Oh no, and Ollie onto the grass. Ollie spinning out there. He's lost out to Ozzy, Charlie and Nick. Ollie down to 8th place as John Boy continues on his way. Ollie there was just a bit aggressive in his pursuit to try and get back ahead of John Boy, and he's now 6 seconds off of the lead, and he's losing huge amount of points to Mike, who's leading the race at the moment by over 4 seconds. Ollie's in trouble here. Mike, it's now advantage Mike in this championship, our 3-time champion of the Clio Cup here at Motive, looking on course to make it 4 championships this season. His gap to Ollie in the championship is now going to be around 14 or 16 points, depending on fastest laps. That's almost an unassailable gap going into the final round of the season. There's only 2 points between each position, so that number of points is going to be very hard to overhaul for Ollie. But nonetheless, we've got Park Pooper just ahead of John Boy coming down towards Red Gates once again. Park Pooper defending that inside line there ahead of John Boy. We've got Ollie down the inside of Charlie up into P7, so Ollie gets another place in the bag there. He's got a few laps here. He's only 2 seconds off of second spot here, so I wouldn't rule him out of a podium just yet. Ollie's definitely not out of this battle for a good position here. And if he can go into the final round of the season next week between 4 and 6 points of Mike, he might be alright, as Nick there getting it wrong. So Nick's dropped to a position there. That's promoted Ollie another position up into 5th place. Ozzy there gets up into P6, Charlie now into 7th. So Nick there getting it horribly wrong coming to the middle part of the lap. And that's helped Ollie out a little bit as he's on the back of John Boy. John Boy and Ollie on the back of Big Blue and Park Pooper as they're coming through Coppice out onto the back straight once again here. Mike in the meantime has checked out the front and has basically got this win in the bag. But coming into the closing stage of this final race of the night here for the Clio Cup, round 7 of season 14. Oh, it's Ozzy there wide onto the grass, and Charlie there is going to move through up into P6. Gets himself through, beautifully done there. And here goes John Boy down the inside of Park Pooper up into the podium places, and Park Pooper tries to go for the cutback but can't do it, taps him in the rear and nowhere to go. And now Ollie's going to try and get Park Pooper coming through Hollywoods, and he's going to have the momentum here. Ollie up into 4th place. Gets himself back ahead of Park Pooper here. John Boy and Ollie now in 3rd and 4th places can now fight it out over the podium places. And I was saying when Ollie dropped back to 8th place a couple of laps ago that he wouldn't be in contention in the championship anymore. Well, at this as it stands now, he'll only be losing 6 points to Mike, so he's still right there. How quickly things can change here in the Clio Cup with the pack racing being so tight. Big Blue currently running in P2, but it's got John Boy, Ollie, Park Pooper in hot pursuit. Charlie and Ozzy there in the background ahead of Nick, with Smokey there running in 9th place ahead of Doris Steer. You've got RJ Dale running 11th place. 12 seconds covering all 11 drivers here as we're coming into the closing stages of this race. Big Blue here having to defend for his life for these podium places, with Ollie and John Boy waiting to pounce here as they're coming down the start-finish straight here to complete lap 13 of the race. 3 laps left to go here at Donington as Ollie now looked to the inside but nowhere to go. Big Blue covers it off. John Boy now looking around outside of Ollie, and John Boy could make it 2 place gains in the space of a corner here. John Boy with a great exit there out of Red Gates, and John Boy there getting himself up into 2nd place with a fantastic manoeuvre there. He gets it completed as well as we come down towards the Crater curves. He'll have the inside here and should be able to get it turned in for the old hairpin, but Big Blue's not giving this one up. He's still keeping it there. John Boy round the outside gets it up into 2nd place. That was a fantastic move around the outside of both Ollie and Big Blue, and John Boy there into P2 here as Ollie there side by side here. Looks like he's managed to get ahead of Big Blue up into 3rd place, and Big Blue's lost out to Park Pooper as well, so Park Pooper down the inside of Big Blue. Park Pooper cutting the grass a little bit there. Big Blue will probably get a better exit coming up towards Coppice and should be able to get it back here up into 4th place ahead of Park Pooper. Park Pooper there trying to keep it around the outside though, a little bit wide onto the curb, but Big Blue there gets it done up into 4th place. Incredible racing here from these guys. Park Pooper trying to get a run here coming down towards the chicane. What a battle between all of these drivers here tonight. It's been a cracking round here at Donington. Nick there getting a little bit sideways there, coming on the exit of the chicane. Loses a bit of time there to Big Blue. John Boy and Ollie now running in 2nd and 3rd places here, and now left to fight it out. And it's once again the same top 3 that we're so used to seeing. It's Mike, John Boy and Ollie once again occupying those podium places. Come on boys, give the others a chance, why don't you? Park Pooper there running ahead of Big Blue with Nick the Villa. Charlie Goff dropping off of these guys a little bit. Smokey there ahead of Ozzy. with RJ Dale there in P10. Doris Steers has had an absolute mare in the last couple of laps. He's running in 11th place here. But John Boy and Ollie here are going to fight it out over second and third places. What about Park with Big Blue and Nick, who are still fighting out over fourth place? Mike in the meantime has got 7 seconds over John Boy and Ollie and will just need to cruise it home for a race win. But his championship gap to Ollie is not going to be that big because they're tied on points coming into this final race of the night. So it's still very much all to play for in the championship. As Mike there gets it wide coming out of the final corner. Wow, Mike, you don't want to be doing that. Not at this stage, mate. Come on, you've got the win in the bag. Don't be messing around now. John Boy and Ollie still coming over the line here to start their final laps of the race in second and third places. There's Park Hooper ahead of Big Blue, Nick the Villa right there. Big Blue has got a good run here on Park Hooper coming down towards turn 1. Looking to the outside, Park Hooper's got that covered. Big Blue there has got Nick closing in on the back of him here coming through Redgate. Park Hooper a bit wide there onto the grass. Nick here trying to get alongside his livery sake here, Big Blue. In the meantime, it's Mike leading by 6 seconds ahead of John Boy and Ollie. These guys about 3 or 4 seconds clear of the battle between Park with Big Blue and Nick the Villa, which is still raging on here on his final lap. John Boy and Ollie have actually gained on Mike, probably down to Mike's excursion there coming out of the final corner that we saw on the previous lap. But Mike here already celebrating this race win and celebrating the taking of the championship lead and going into the final round of the season next week at Silverstone National. Has he timed his taking of this championship lead absolutely perfectly here? He's coming up towards the line. It's going to be a flash of lights from him. Mike, our 3-time champion of the Clio Cup, taking a step towards potentially a 4th crown next week at Silverstone. He's the race winner tonight at Donington. John Boy comes over in 2nd place with Ollie completing the podium. It's going to be Mike to take, Park to take 4th ahead of Big Blue 5th, followed by Nick the Villa. Charlie over in 7th place with Smokey in 8th, Ozzy 9th ahead of RJ Dale in P10, and Doris Steele will be the last driver over the line there in P11. What a night we've had there. But the big news tonight, Mike, our 3-time champion of the Clio Cup, taking the championship lead after tonight at Donington National. I'm going to quickly do the championship standings right now so we can get this absolutely straight before we get off air. And yeah, we'll know exactly what the scores are, we'll know exactly what the situation is going into the final race. I'll work out the drop rounds for the top 3 as well, obviously, so we know what the situation is in the championship. And obviously next week as well, I'll be working out the drop rounds for everyone. So obviously after the final race next week, we'll be taking probably about 5 minutes just to work out all the drop rounds, and then once we've got that all straightened out, we'll know exactly where we stand. Ollie taking the fastest lap, that could be crucial for him in the championship in that final race. Taking the fastest lap by 0.02 of a second, that could be what decides this championship. Imagine that. Driver of the day will give it to Mike, but Ollie gets the fastest lap. Right, here we go then. So fitting in the standings as we speak. So that's Mike P1, John Boy P2, Ollie P3, Park Ripper P4, Big Blue P5. If you're wondering why I'm not tapping, it's because the championship standings is on my phone. I use an app called Formula Game Companion, and literally it's so easy to use. It's like, literally, you do not need Excel, you do not need spreadsheets, you do not need to be a computer whiz. I mean, to be fair, most people can use Excel. I'm in the minority, but yeah, it's so simple to use. Honestly, I would recommend anybody who runs championships. It's so customizable. It's so easy to use. If anybody runs a sim league and wants an easy way to do the championship standings, honestly, I would highly recommend Formula Game Companion. Just for the purposes of admin, really. Absolutely fantastic. They're not sponsoring this, by the way. They've got absolutely no say or stake in this whatsoever. I'm just singing their praises because I think that they're a good bunch. So, championship standings before the drop rounds. It's Ollie leading the way on 592 points ahead of Mike, who's second, but with a drop round in hand. So Mike sits in second on 518 points. He is now 24 points clear of John Boy, who is third on 494 points. Smoky Devil is in fourth on 384 points. 12 points clear of Charlie Goff, who jumps ahead of Cobb up into fifth on 372 points. Aussie also moves ahead of Cobb into sixth on 354 points. 2 points clear of Cobb, who's now seventh on 352. He's only 4 points now ahead of Park Pooper, who's 8th on 348 points. Nick Lavilla is in 9th now on 322, with Jay in 10th on 268 points. Doris Steer in 11th on 208 points ahead of Big Blue, who is 12th on 206. Diabetic Lamb sits 13th on 190 points ahead of Iceman, who is 14th on 106. RJ Dell is 15th on 100 points ahead of the Mutts Nuts, who is 16th on 66 points. Gary 17th on 66, with Amaskill 18th on 64 points. Totally Zero sits in 19th on 36, with Revolt Detailer P20 in the standings on 16 points. With the drop rounds coming into effect, obviously Ollie now drops 592 points from his sorry, doesn't drop 592 points, sorry, it'd be on zero if that was the case. He drops 76 from his 592 points, so Ollie, with the drop rounds into effect, is on 516 points. Mike obviously doesn't drop any points because he missed a round this season. So Mike is the new championship leader on 518 points. He is 2 points ahead of Ollie, who's in second on 516 points. John Boy still mathematically in with a shout on 494 points, but he is currently 24 points off of the championship lead, so it's looking like he's got a slim chance here now in this season. But guys, thanks ever so much for joining us. Join us next week for the final round at Silverstone National. Also join us on Thursday. We're back on Project Cars 2 for the touring cars on Thursday, and also we'll be live tomorrow night on ACC for the GT3 Sprint League at 8 PM UK time. We'll be at the Hungaroring for that one. Friday night we'll be back on F1 22 for the F1 League at 6:40 PM UK time. We'll be at Singapore for the Singapore Grand Prix for that one. And then Sunday night we'll be back on ACC again for the GT3 Championship, where we will be at Silverstone. We'll be out for that one. And obviously Tuesday night next week we'll be on for the Clios once again for the final round of the season, the championship decider between what's looking to be Mike, Ollie and maybe John Boy. But yeah, thanks everybody so much guys for joining us once again. We'll see you very soon. Take it easy everybody, and yeah, good night.